Let's talk a little bit more about the Velociraptor principle and how it applies to VOR method teaching. Just to reiterate, the Velociraptor principle comes from Jurassic Park, where the Velociraptors demonstrate their intelligence by repeatedly crashing into an electric fence, but never at the same place twice. And obviously, when the power goes out, they do break free. And that's the mindset that we want to build in VOR method students. We want them to build, to develop that idea of persistence, resilience, trying different things out, never giving up, clawing their way out of whatever situation. And that's what's going to lead to success in pretty much any realistic area, not just academics. So let's talk about what you do when a student comes up. A student's willing to engage their inner Velociraptor, but he comes up against a problem that it's just a little too hard. So what do we do here? I want to use this analogy. Suppose you're trying to build Velociraptorness into somebody, and they're locked in some kind of a room, and what you would want them to do is like claw their way out of that room. So they try a little bit, and it's just too much. Now, as a teacher, you have this temptation to say, well, listen, I'll just kind of claw out most of it, and you sort of follow along the path that I created. Now, that is not really unlocking their inner Velociraptor, because they're not testing all the different parts of the room. They're not trying to figure out how to get out of there. They're basically following you like a baby duck. But we don't want a baby duck principle. We want the Velociraptor principle at work. So here's what we do. If a student is stuck in a problem, they're not engaged in that mode, they're trying out different things, they're being relentless, instead of trying to dig out the room for them, just put them in a less intimidating room. Put them in a room that has thinner walls. Drop down to an easier problem. Drop down to an easier concept. And this can apply in math and grammar and reading, whatever. The point is, figure out what that difficulty level is at which they're able to engage with that. At which they're saying, yeah, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to try out a bunch of different things. And that's the key thing, right? It has to be they are trying out a bunch of different things, not they are following you along in the one thing that you're trying out because you know how to do it. The point of the Velociraptor principle is they need to try out all these different little things themselves, not with guidance from you, but essentially without any guidance. Your job is basically to throw them into the right room that they can break their way out of. And some of them are going to be Shawshank Redemption style kids, where all they need is a rock hammer and they're going to break out of a reinforced concrete prison. And other kids, they don't have that confidence yet. It's probably been just beaten out of them by the schools that they go to. So they might need, even if they're holding a giant axe, maybe all they can handle is getting their way out of a cardboard box, and that's fine. But they need to find their way out of it, not your way out of it. That's the key thing. It's about empowering the students, helping them build that self-confidence. Self-confidence, not you-confidence. So the critical takeaway here is if a student is they're floundering, they're not struggling and trying different things out like a Velociraptor. They've just given up, and you feel yourself following that pattern where you're just kind of giving them a hint, and they're catching up to the hint, and then you give them the next hint, and they move the next inch, and then the next, you move them, give them a hint, another inch forward, and now they're following you like a baby duck. If you find that happening, what you need to do is drop down to something easier. Find out whatever level of skill or easiness or whatever it needs to be so that they can engage their inner Velociraptor.